Hi Year 7, welcome back to your next travel writing lesson. To start with, you've got your do now on the board, which is some anagrams. So all the letters in blue can be rearranged to make the answer to the clue, which is in brackets after each. So for example, Coach Rock, the first one, something you wouldn't want to find in your jelly, is rearranged into cockroach. Okay, so pause this video and have a go at those now. Okay, so how did we do? We've already said number 1 was cockroach. Number 2 is holiday. Number 3 is brochure, which is like the magazine you get from a travel company to look at all the different hotels and things. Violet, what you do to get to your holiday destination, that's travel. You don't want to find mold in your hotel room. You stay in a hotel, and when your flight is late, that's a delay. Okay, so just tick those through and see how many you did. Well done. So we're going to continue to work towards your target, your assessment piece today. So to do that, we've got this model example here. Now it does say to stick it in your books. You won't be able to do that unless you can print it and do it that way. But I'm just going to read it through to you. So, although the smell of putrid fish cascaded from every orifice of the room, the beds were at least big enough for a person to sleep on. Well, a very small person to sleep on. Plugging in my phone charger proved more difficult than expected, as the plug socket was hanging by a thin decaying wire from the wall. In a place as beautiful as Spain, there was no need for a phone anyway. Who needs electricity? And who needs hot water? Who needs a toilet seat? Well, not me. I opened the balcony windows and looked out at the building site as the door slowly crunched and swung on its single hinge. As the drill began to shake the ground below me, I took in a deep breath of dust as the builder stared and swore at me in a language I did not understand. Oh my, what a perfect holiday this was going to be. Okay, so I need you now then to, it says here to highlight it on the piece of work. You probably are not going to be able to do that unless you can print that slide off. So you could do that with snipping tool, couldn't you, and draw a box around it. So snipping tool is one of my favourite things to use on a computer. So it's just called snipping tool, and if you press on new, it just goes like this, and then you can just copy the bit that you want and turn that into a Word document, and you'd be able to print it then. But don't worry if you can't, you could just make a list of the literary devices that you can see, and a list of the adjectives as well. Okay, 3 and 4 are challenge questions. So why is the writer use literary devices? So literary devices are things like similes, metaphors, rhetorical questions, so they're language features is another way to say it. And adjectives describe a noun. We've looked at those a few times this week. So a noun is still something you can touch. So I can touch my, phone. Okay, I can touch my water bottle. So all of those things. So adjectives describe what those are like. Okay, so pause this video, go back to the previous slide and do that now. Okay, great. How did you get on? So here is my example. So the literary devices I've turned red, and the adjectives I've highlighted in green. Okay. So adjectives describe a noun. So fish is our noun. Putrid means stinky and rotting, like really nasty stuff you wouldn't eat. And the bed is the noun, and the bed is big enough. So big enough is the adjective. The person is very small. The wire is thin and decaying. Spain is beautiful. Water is hot. Okay. The hinge is single. The breath of dust is deep. And the holiday is perfect, although not perfect, because that's obviously sarcasm. The red bits then, in a place as beautiful as Spain, there was no need for a phone anyway. Who needs electricity? Who needs hot water? Who needs a toilet seat? So those are all rhetorical questions, okay? And then crunched I've picked out as well, because that's onomatopoeia, which is when the word sounds like what it's describing. Okay? So what you need to be doing now then, you've got the rest of this lesson to write a detailed paragraph persuading people not to visit the place you've had your holiday from hell. Okay, and we want to make sure that you write in accurate sentences, so each idea on its own in a sentence with a capital letter and ending with a full stop or a question mark or exclamation mark. But those are the only 3 types of punctuation you can finish a sentence with. In order to help you further, you've got that A forest there on the board as well. So it details what each of those stages of A forest means. So alliteration, which is 2 or 3 words starting with the same letter together. Facts, so things that are true that nobody can argue with. Opinions is what you think but somebody else could think differently. A rhetorical question is just when you ask a question. So there was one in that example there, look, so who needs hot water? Who needs a toilet seat? Repetition is important as well because it makes something stand out. Emotive language, so really talking about the impact of your of all this stuff on your emotions, really making it just seem so upsetting. Statistics are facts to do with numbers, and the rule of 3 is when you use 3 adjectives to describe something. So you could say your hotel bedroom was smelly, dusty and dirty. Okay, that kind of thing. So accurate sentences, it's much better to have a shorter paragraph but absolutely accurate than it is to write page after page and it not be able to make sense. Okay, I need you to send this in to me so I can mark this because it's a proper assessment. If there's a reason why you can't do that, can you let me know either in the discussion for this task or sending me a message on Show My Homework or sending me an email so we can have a look at how to help you with that. But I do need this to be handed in. All right, thank you very much. See you next lesson.